What's going on, YouTube? So right now I'm going to be telling you my thoughts and review for the Disney movie called Encanto, and I was probably not going to watch it for my 2021 list, I guess you could say. That's what I call it, at least. But it dropped on Disney Plus a lot earlier than I expected, and I actually saw it was on Disney Plus last night. I was like, oh, I saw when I saw it was on Disney Plus, I just was like, I'm gonna watch it because I didn't have anything else to do, and I was bored actually, and I'm glad I checked it out because it looked like an interesting movie. It was an enjoyable movie, and before I go any further, I am talking spoilers. So if you haven't seen it, you don't want to be spoiled anything, stop watching. Or if you don't care, or if you've seen it, obviously continue watching. Um, when I first watched the previews for this movie, I was like, this looks different. Like maybe not different, but looks like something I wasn't gonna expect Disney to make. Between seeing a character that can shapeshift, seeing a character that is like super strong, like the Hulk, um, and just other characters in general, like that have powers and whatever. Um, it gave me a lot of Frozen type vibes. It gave me a lot of like those Disney movies that have a lot of singing in it, which it does. A couple of the songs, I will admit, was just like, okay, this is just getting annoying. Like, cause especially there was one point where like you had a song, 2 minutes later another song, and then 2 minutes later another song. I was like, okay, this is pure Disney like for you. I got a little annoyed about that. I'm not gonna lie, but it's Disney for you. So I mean, I couldn't complain that I can't complain that much. I will say though, I think it's good, but I still think the movies like Frozen. I can't remember. I'm not sure any other movies that have a lot of singing in it, like The Lion King. I'm just trying to think of movies that have the same animation. Oh, Moana, and I think Frozen and Moana are better than like this movie, as similar as it is between Frozen having like a character with powers, Moana having a character with powers, and this movie as well. I think Moana is actually my favorite. I think Moana is better than Frozen and Encanto if I had to use those three, if I had to rank those three movies. Um, but I enjoyed it. I'm glad I checked it out. I don't know if I'll ever watch it again. Only time I'll probably ever watch it again is if they make Encanto 2, and then that way I'll be like, all right, time to rewatch Encanto, because I always like to watch like the first movie of certain movies, like I know eventually before I go see the new Scream movie, I'm gonna binge watch all the other Scream movies just to rewatch them, as well as rewatch the first Doctor Strange before I go see Doctor Strange 2. That's what I did for the recent Spider-Man movie. Um, I thought it was cool the way they depicted each character for their powers, and they showed off like what they can do. They weren't just there. Like there wasn't one character that I can think that I can remember right now where they were just there and you barely saw them use their powers. Maybe the character that can hear from a distance. She was probably the. I think she was used the least. Maybe the shapeshifter actually, but it's fine. I mean, I don't care. I did like the intro song actually from where like they were explaining that Maribel, that's her family, and she was explaining each power, and then she was being annoyed by like, what's her power? What's her power? And when it turns out she doesn't have any powers, I thought she was gonna at least get a power towards the end of the movie, but in a way, she didn't. Not in a way, she just didn't. I had a theory. I was wondering even while watching the movie. I thought to myself, I wonder if she's gonna get like a mix of all their powers, like super strength, super hearing. Like she was gonna be the Superman of the family, I guess you could say, or the Supergirl. Um, I thought she was really cool. Bruno was interesting. I thought for sure he was just. I thought he was going to be the bad guy, I guess you could say, but I was totally wrong. He was the good guy of the movie. Of course, he was one of the good guys. Uh, Abuela, I think that's the grandma's name. I'm looking at the cast list, but I don't see the character faces. I'm only looking at the cast with the cast of who they voiced. Uh, I knew right away that once they started fighting Mirabelle and her grandma, that the house was going to crack because of the way they were fighting and hating towards each other. The girl with the flower powers, Isabella, I think was her name. I think that's her name, Isabella. She right in the beginning when she was like hating on Mirabelle for like almost no particular reason, and because she's not perfect like her and no powers. Like I kind of thought she was being a little. No, she was being a little bitch. I was like, really? But when they um, became friendly to one another, and they hugged and grew the light. That was nice, of course. Um, Mirabelle's relationship with the little kid that got the power to talk to animals, I thought that was nice. I mean, that she was there for her. When he wanted to walk down to the door with her with Mirabelle, that was really nice. And I hated that the part where the grandma was like glaring at them, like, really, just, it's not that bad of a big of a deal that your granddaughter is walking with your grandson. Like I had a feeling she was gonna be that type of character, and the way she got called out too by Mirabelle was like, no matter how perfect Isabella is, no matter how strong that I forgot that girl's name, like, we are never gonna be perfect. I was like, ooh, sounds familiar, if I'm being honest. Um, I even excuse me, when the part where Mirabelle saw the vision of seeing the house cracked, I wondered, like, maybe she won't get a mix of their powers, of all their powers. She'll get, maybe her power is maybe seeing the future, which is actually Bruno's powers. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I thought the toucan was funny when he he somehow followed Mirabelle into that into Bruno's room, and then when he he went up to the top, was waiting for Mirabelle, and then he took off when it got scary in the little tunnel, and she was like, coward. That was pretty funny. Um, and I thought it was nice when Isabella and and Granny were hugging when they made up and realized that they do have love for one another. I even liked how the part where the grandma saw Bruno, her son, and she was just happy he was back and that he never left. And it was nice when you see like his room inside the house. It was kind of sad to see like how he had his little table right peeking into the kitchen so he could still be with his family. He never left his family. He loved them, and it was nice to see that he was the one like patching the cracks and stuff like that. It was crazy to see the house collapsing, but it was nice to see them. And when the family and the town were helping them rebuild the house, I thought for a second they were going to get their powers back and they weren't going to have the magical house, but they got their powers back. The house was magical again and had personality, and that was nice. The house having personality kind of gave me Beauty and the Beast vibes when like the dishes, the candle, the clock came to life kind of thing. Kind of gave me that kind of vibe. Um, I also what's the word I'm looking for? It's all I can think of right now for in terms of this review for this movie. Oh, the town like helping, wanting to help them rebuild the house was nice, because at first I thought they weren't going to do that, because after all, this family is helping them a lot when it comes to like keeping the town under control. That was, and seeing them come together and rebuild that house was nice. Well, yeah, they really want them to rebuild, because yeah, they probably can't live without those people with their powers. Sad, and not sad ending. It was sad, like, beginning, I guess you could say, and sad story when Grandma tells the story about how she fled her home with her triplets and her husband, and how she lost her husband by those raiders, I guess you could say. They were, I guess, I'm gonna call them raiders. I don't know what they were called exactly. I can't remember if they called them anything in the movie, but it was sad to see that happen. It's crazy, and I wondered too for a second. I thought she had her triplets were three girls, and then I realized, oh, Bruno was one of the kids. I was like, that's why, two daughters and a son she had. And what I also thought was really funny, that I laughed probably every time, was when the shapeshifter would shapeshift into his family, and and he was mocking one of the family members, and he was like, I don't talk like that, and when he shapeshifted into the girl that can hear far away, he and one of the characters, a person was like, you can't shapeshift into her so you could get extras on your food, because that's something I would probably do. I don't. It's a tough one for who my favorite character was. If I had to choose a favorite character, tough one between the girl that has super strength, the kid that can talk to animals, because I would love to talk to animals. I'm a big animal person, and the shapeshifter, because shapeshifting is probably one of the coolest things out there when it comes to any power, from like, especially if like, because that's what Mystique has. She can shapeshift, and I always thought that how she can shapeshift was just badass. As even Jack can shapeshift in the Incredibles movie. But Anyway, that's all I gotta say for this movie. Really, I even wrote down some notes. I went through all the notes, I believe. Yes, I did. Yep, I went through everything that I wrote down. And not much notes, but wish I wrote a little bit more. But it is what it is. Anyway, if you can do me a favor, give this video a like and or subscribe to this channel. I would really appreciate that. And I'll see y'all in the next video. Have a good one.